There we go. Good evening and welcome to the City of Pasco Council meeting. The council thanks you for being a part of your city government. At meetings, the council takes formal action on items, holds public hearings, and conducts other business of the city. Agenda packets are available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-wa.gov/agenda. This meeting is also being televised live on PSC-TV, channel 191 on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland, and is streamed on the city's Facebook page, website, YouTube channel, and Microsoft Teams webinar. This and previous council meeting video is available on the city's website. Lastly, the public may submit their comments and or questions by contacting the city manager, city clerk, or by using the Ask Pasco app. Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Councilmember Campos.
Here.
Cotta.
He is excused.
Okay. Figueroa.
Present.
Hernandez.
Present.
Perales.
Here.
Milne.
He is also excused.
Okay. And Grimm.
I am here. Thank
you.
you.
We have 5 present. We have 4.
Thank you, ma'am. If everyone would rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving right on to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by a roll call vote as one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If further discussion is desired by council members, the item may be removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda and considered separately. Letter A, approval of meeting minutes for April 13th and April 20th. B, bills and communications. Approving claims in the total amount of $8,264,089.19. Letter C, resolution number 4731 and ordinance number 4832, authorizing acceptance of grant funding and execution of grant agreement with the Washington State Department of Commerce, Office of Crime Victims Advocacy, and amending the 2025 and 2026 operating budget. Letter D, resolution number 4733, termination of ILA between the City of Pasco and Walla Walla County Fire Protection District number 5 for advanced life support services. E, resolution number 4734, amendment to Fire Department Facility Use Agreement. F, resolution number 4735, amendment to interlocal agreement between City of Pasco and Franklin County District number 3 concerning the exchange services and the transfer of assets due to the annexation of Road 80 areas of the city. Is there any member of council that would like to remove any of these for separate discussion? Not seeing any. Mr. Perales.
I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember Perales to accept the consent agenda as read, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. Roll call, please, Ms. Clerk.
Councilmember Campos.
Yes.
Perales.
Yes.
Figueroa.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
And Grimm.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. Moving on to number 5, proclamations and acknowledgments. And we have 3 of them tonight, and we have the chamber's full. So just going to say all of them, then we'll do them individually. The first one is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. The second is Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month. And the last one will be National Police Officer Week. So I am going to come down, and that will be the order we will do these in. And I'm just going to come right down there, and anybody that wants to be a part of this proclamation is welcome to join me at the podium there. Thank you for joining us. Before we start, would you guys mind telling us who you are?
Hi, we are from Chihuahua High School, and we represent the AAPI and IVs Club at Chihuahua High School.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right. Whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is a time to recognize the contributions and achievements of Americans, of Asians from across the Asian continent, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Island descent, and whereas in the United States, Asian Pacific Heritage Week was first celebrated in 1979 and was extended into AANHPI Heritage Month in 1992, and whereas the month of May was chosen as Asian Pacific Heritage Month to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese citizen, Nakahama, forgive me, Sir Manhiro, to the United States on May 7th, 1843, and also the anniversary of the May 10th, 1869 completion of the first transcontinental railroad, built in part with the back-breaking labor of nearly 20,000 Chinese immigrants. And whereas today more than 20 million AANHPI members live in the United States, whereas we celebrate their achievement and contributions which enrich our history, society, and culture through languages and religions and make our community more vibrant, prosperous, and secure, and whereas during AANHPI Heritage Month, we acknowledge the additional determination, hard work, and perseverance AANHPI put forth to be heard and seen. Whereas the 2026 theme is Power in Unity, Strengthening Communities Together, and highlights the importance of collaboration, resilience, and solidarity in the strengthening communities. And now, therefore, I, Charles Grimm, Mayor of the City of Pasco, Washington, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you. Crowded somewhere for a picture. Well, I tell my kids, make sure they can see you.
Looks good. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, if you want to just stay down here. Thank you, everybody. We are going to move on to number 2. This is Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month. Whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive, fatal, neurodegenerative disease in which a person's brain loses connection with their muscles, slowly reducing a person's ability to walk. Thank you for coming. No, you're good. I get ahead of myself sometimes. I'm just so excited. Person's ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually breathe. And whereas thousands of new amyotrophic lateral sclerosis cases are reported every year, and estimates show that every 90 minutes someone is diagnosed with ALS and someone passes away from ALS. And whereas on average patients diagnosed with ALS survive only 2 to 5 years from the time of diagnosis, and whereas the exact causes of ALS are unknown and there is no known cure for ALS, and whereas people who have served in the military are more likely to develop ALS and die from the disease than those with no history of military service, and whereas securing access to new therapies, durable medical equipment, and communication technologies is of vital importance to people living with ALS, whereas clinical trials play a pivotal role in evaluating new treatments, enhancing quality of life, and fostering assistive technologies for those living with ALS, and whereas the ALS Association is the largest philanthropic funder of ALS research globally and has committed more than $154 million to support more than 550 projects across the United States and in 18 countries, and whereas the ALS Association is committed to make ALS livable and and cure it for everyone, everywhere. And whereas Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month provides an opportunity to increase public awareness of the dire circumstances of people living with ALS, acknowledge the terrible impact of this disease has on those individuals and their families, and support research to eradicate this disease. Now, therefore, I, Charles Grimm, Mayor of the City of Pasco, Washington, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month and encourage all residents to join in supporting ALS research, advocating for increased funding, and standing in solidarity with those affected by this relentless disease. Somebody want to say something? Anything?
I can
Awesome.
say.
Love it.
This is our friend, and her husband is currently battling ALS, so we're just here to support her.
Three, two, one. Perfect.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right, yep, bring the blue up. I'll remember this time. Thank you. This proclamation is for National Police Week, whereas the City of Pasco plays an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of residents of the City of Pasco, whereas it is important that all residents know and understand the duties, responsibility, hazards, and sacrifices of their police, and whereas the City of Pasco Police recognizes their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the City of Pasco Police unceasingly provide a vital public service, now therefore I, Charles Grimm, Mayor of the City of Pasco, Washington, call upon all residents of the City of Pasco and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 10th through the 16th, 2026 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our residents may join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all residents. Further, I call upon all residents of the City of Pasco to observe Friday, May 15th, 2026 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of those law enforcement officers who through their courageous deeds have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to the community or have become disabled in the performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of their fallen heroes. Thank you, guys.
I just want to thank the officers that do show up every day to provide service to you and the rest of our citizens. I am very grateful to work alongside all of these men and the women that we have, and the support that we get from council and have always had in this community is it's a blessing for all of us. And thank you.
Let's do this like a sports team.
I know.
Three rows here, Dylan.
3 rows.
Shorty's in the back.
Three, two, oh, you good? All right, 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
So much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Number 6, public comments. The public may address council on any item unless it relates to a scheduled public hearing. This item is provided to allow the opportunity to bring items to the attention of the city council or to express an opinion on an issue. Its purpose is not to provide a venue for debate or for posing of questions with the expectation of an immediate response. Some questions require consideration by council over time, and after a deliberative process with input from a number of different sources, some questions are best directed to staff members who have access to specific information. Citizen comments will normally be limited to 3 minutes each. Those with lengthy messages are invited to summarize their comments and/or submit written information for consideration by the council outside of formal meetings. Lastly, when called upon, please state your name and city or county of residence into the microphone before providing your comments. Public comments are now open. Mr. Gramboy?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Staff, Thomas Granville, 108 North 4th Avenue, Big Municipal Properties. I just wanted to give a shout out to the city staff for what a great job they did with Cinco de Mayo this year. Every year it's a little bit different and it's a learning curve, and every year it gets better. I want to share with you one of the comments. I swear I wasn't paid to give this props, but one of my neighbors said that Ron is super amazing, so he did a great job. So thank you so much. I spoke with him this morning. He's recovering. Thank you very much. I wanted to highlight this, so it's going to meander a little bit, because when you come here every week, you get to see the little portions of how things work, and for the folks at home, where they're going to. The Pasco Taco Crawl has been going on for 10 years now, and I'm not a part of them. I've just been a participant. It's fun to see my 10-year anniversary photos show up on Facebook. And in those 10 years, I can't believe it, not including this year, they have paid out over $130,000 to downtown businesses. Okay, with over 80,000 tacos eaten, with over 8,000 crawlers coming downtown. And a lot of those folks, I don't know how many participated, went down and bought the booklets and participated here, but it's amazing seeing new people downtown all the time. And not only does it support the local businesses, but they also contribute to the Boys and Girls Club as well. So it sort of hits it on both ends. It's a really great event. Now, the meandering part, it's easy for us to joke around about complete streets and bikes, and especially for the people at home commenting, being negative about that. But you really start to see, if you build it, they will come. During the taco crawl, you see an incredible amount of bike groups going around downtown, and you see, okay, well, they're going from this section where there are bike paths, and then they're off riding on the street, and then they're back on bike paths. So it's really important when we see these little sections being built to take a look at the whole holistic thing. So it's a lot of fun to see families out on their bikes, sitting down at restaurants, having dinner, and enjoying our downtown. So that was it. Thank you so much for your support on everything you do.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, anybody else?
I don't have a comment. I'm just going to fix this.
Yes, sir, come right on up. Yep. Just name and city or county of residence for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Chris Tynan. I'm the CEO of Burnham from Arlington, Virginia. I'm here tonight on behalf of our employees that work here in the city of Pasco, work every night and day to make sure that we provide the city with reliable and cost-effective services. Before I begin, I want to recognize Maria, Risha, Harold, and Michael Hano. You guys are lucky to have civil servants of their caliber. I've been working with them 5 years now, and I see how hard they work and the challenging problems that they solve every day. I also recognize the food processors who play a vital role in the Pasco community as a significant employer and a meaningful part of the tax base. I empathize with the difficulties that they're facing, and we're committing to finding solutions. Let me start with what's working. The digesters that treat wastewater are working very well. The RNG system is working exceptionally well. Operating costs come down as we're moving through commissioning. In addition, as you know, we delivered the city council, the city of Pasco, over $66 million in cash and related to the investment tax credit, and had the city have taken a contractual option to take that over 30 years, would have been a discount of $6.4 million a year, more than the current 2026 projected shortfall. We project over the life of the project, RNG net of costs will deliver over $150 to $200 million of benefit to the city of Pasco. But now to the cause of the problem. The problem is that it's a lot more expensive to treat wastewater than to not treat wastewater, which is what the city and the processor were doing before investing in this facility with us. In 2019, the city hired Pace Engineering to do a cost study, projecting costs that are roughly in line with today's costs if you account for inflation. Secondly, the first year RNG volumes were lower than everybody expected, and that's because we're getting less organic material from the processors. We proposed to the city 2 strategies to increase gas production. The first is to accept trucked-in waste. The state of Washington has an organic waste recycling mandate, and Pasco could be a regional leader by taking that step, getting fees from other parties except for not just the existing processors. We proposed a 1-year trial at no cost to the city. We also recommend restructuring rates, which I think was suggested at the last council meeting, in order to encourage the processors to send more organic material. Both of these are challenging, but we believe that those challenges are surmountable. Finally, we value accountability in our own services, and we will continue to improve. But at the same time, it's worth noting that over 80% of the cost gap were from factors that are objectively outside of our control. 40% from the lower processor volumes, 25% for contractual adjustments that had to do with inflation, interest rates, and commodity prices, and another 20% were tied to the city's chosen nitrogen system and site and regulatory issues during construction. Finally, I think there's 2 steps that the processors could take today that would substantially eliminate the budget shortfall. First of all, $66 million, if invested in U.S. Treasuries, would yield about $3 million a year in interest. If you apply that interest to the budget, that goes a long way. Second,
Chris, we got to wrap up.
Yep, 38 seconds.
No, 30 or 38 seconds over already,
Okay,
sir.
got it.
One last
more-
comment.
One more comment. Phase in. Sorry, I was looking at it bad.
So was I at first. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So secondly, the utility taxes. If you consider phasing them in, we've seen you giving tax benefits to new businesses. The taxes of $2.2 million a year are about 4 to 5 times higher than they were projected to be in 2022 and 2023. Finally, just want to say that I look forward to working closely with you guys. We think that you guys showed visionary leadership in 2023 by selecting this program, and we believe the future is bright together. So
Chris,
for your
thank
time.
you. No, I appreciate it. I got to stop you there, but I apologize. I didn't even recognize you in the audience. And I was on the our work group call today with the processors and everything. I appreciate your commitment to getting this solved and everything.
Thank you. I appreciate your commitment.
Yep,
as well.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Come, step right on up.
Alrighty, I wrote some words down so I could be more succinct than my normal rambling. I'm Brian Verhey. I'm a resident of District 3. And as a resident of Pasco in District 3, I'm here today because the integrity of this body is being eroded by persistent behavior by Councilmember Perales that falls well below the standard we expect from our elected leaders and can open the city up to lawsuits which would ultimately be paid by the taxpayers. Effective governance relies on trust, yet we are seeing recurring misuse of the councilman title to target private citizens and bypass professional boundaries. First, regarding social media, there is a documented pattern from the councilman using the city councilman branded platform to amplify hearsay and unverified claims. Most recently, he posted about a student in Pasco schools who was being bullied. When the school district verified that the claims were not true and gave him a courtesy call, by the way, to allow him to take it down if he would like to, he declined. Sorry, I lost my spot here. And that post with that girl's father's name is up to this day, where the father initially did delete that post. More disturbingly, I've personally witnessed him using his platform to show or post private homes or residents when so-called concerns from community members come up. In this instance, I'm referring to something that happened last summer where there was a cleanup situation that was posted on the Facebook page. This is not constituent service. It's a form of intimidation that uses the weight of the city office to single out individuals in their own neighborhoods. Furthermore, professional conduct remains a serious concern. While much has been said regarding friction with city staff and high turnover in various departments, the digital record does point to a genuine hostile environment in many departments. This includes an email sent to another public official not in the city building, containing a direct threat to see them not reelected when they ran for reelection. That email did come from the City Pasco email account. This is not an isolated incident involving one post or one email. It represents a documented pattern using city-branded influence to bully, spread misinformation, and foster a culture of fear among both city personnel and the general public. Let me be very clear. If these activities were done on personal email and on a personal Facebook page, or at least one that's not branded Pasco City Councilman, then I would not be standing here today. But because that has been done with City of Pasco branding in multiple cases using both official and branded channels, I am forced to ask the council to consider two separate actions. One, I need them to strengthen and enforce social media practices and explicitly limit the use of the councilman title on personal accounts that are used to target private citizens or spread unverified rumors. Also, I believe that this history is egregious enough that I would recommend that Councilmember Prowse be removed from his outside committees, as the City of Pasco should be represented by someone who has all people's interests in mind, and that voice should be neutral or positive on outside leadership boards. Thank you for your time and hearing of this matter.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Well, the lady in the pink right behind you, then you can be next.
Good evening. My name is Marcy Torres, and I am the owner of Gutter Girl, and I am an advocate of this community. And I'm here today to speak to you about Mr. Leo Perales. His behavior towards the community members in this community really is heartbreaking. And I cannot understand how someone who treats our community the way that he's treated not only people in our community, but business owners in this community, he needs to be held accountable. We expect better from our elected officials. Harassment to small local businesses who are already struggling is not okay, Mr. Perales. And I would hope that we would all, there's so many things that we're doing in Pasco. The Cinco de Mayo parade was amazing. Why are we allowing people's behaviors to separate and to bring conflict into our communities? There should be no room for that in this community. And I have never seen so much hatred been spewed to people in our community before. And I'm just here to ask that we hold him accountable. We expect better from our elected officials. And I think there needs to be some actions to hold him accountable for the things that he's doing. And I have story after story after story of what he has done to different people. And I really would not want to come here every meeting to let you all know the things that are happening. Instead, I would like for Mr. Perales, give him the opportunity to make a public apology and do the right thing for our community. Because if I start coming here and exposing everything that has been brought up to my attention, this is not going to be okay. So please, I'm here to beg you to expect more from our elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hatch?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh,
we
yeah.
do have an individual online who has raised their hands for quite some time.
Okay, I called on Ms. Hatch here first, then we'll go to the online person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I am here actually to speak in support of Councilman Perales. The First Amendment is clear. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech. So what is religion? It is a belief without scientific proof. The Library of Congress records all scientific studies, those that are just theories, those that are peer-reviewed, or those who are in the process of peer review. And there is no peer-reviewed study that proves girls and boys are born in the wrong bodies. Not an attempt to even gain peer review. Truth is, no matter what hormones or surgeries performed, their chromosomes stay the same. I have no idea what Councilman Perales feels about transgenderism, but he shared a concerned father's post how a high school dealt with a situation involving his daughter. That he was unhappy with him, from what I understand. Contrary to what we had heard earlier from a commenter, that father and that daughter felt bullied, and that's why they took down their posts, not because they felt it was that they were wrong to post it. Councilman Perales does not lose his First Amendment rights to post things on his social media pages just because he's on the city council. He did nothing wrong. He didn't even comment about it. However, this push to force others into other people's belief systems is immoral and wrong, especially when it's being forced by a government agency such as our schools are. The word Congress implies government in the First Amendment, and forcing girls to share private spaces with boys is no different than forcing a Muslim girl that she cannot wear her hijab. It's forcing the government's religion onto unwilling participants, and it needs to stop. And anybody that has a concern with their daughter has every right to post that as well. And there is nothing wrong to share that. I want to thank you, Councilman Perales, for standing up for families who do not share their beliefs. Now, I don't know any other things that have happened with Mr. Perales, but I will say there is a process for those who have complaints to file a complaint with evidence and not hearsay, because I've seen hearsay, and it is immoral. When you try people in the court of public opinion instead of using facts and a court type system is immoral, because you think you may know the truth, but you may not. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the chamber for public comment? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Perales. Ms. Sigdell, thank you.
Yes, we have Marie read out online. Marie, if you could unmute yourself. Marie? Maybe we can come back to her, Mr.
Okay, thank you. We will come back to Marie then. Anybody else in the chamber like to speak on any issue as it relates to, yep, in the back, come on up.
Is it on already?
It is on. Just your name and city or county of residence, please.
Okay. Hello, my name is Vanessa Leon. I live in District 3, and just like the other people with me here today, we wanted to talk about Leo Perales' behavior. I remember the feeling I felt when I was on Facebook and I was just scrolling by and I saw the comments left on that post. I remember thinking to myself that, and as I'm surrounded in this council and I see that I'm the youngest person here, I know intimidation works, and I know how scary it is to speak up to people who we often feel very scared to speak up to, because we look at them and we feel this sense of smallness. And I have a bunch of friends who I shared the stories of what was happening, and they also felt the same resentment, as well as thinking that all these people who, like, they don't have the same experiences as us are speaking for situations that they have never gone through. As a daughter of an immigrant, I know how hard it is to go through life day by day and having to face unimaginable situations. And it makes me deeply saddened to think that Leo Perales, also Hispanic, is representing us in such a negative light when I know so much people in our community are actively against him. And I'm sorry if this is all over the place because I didn't think I was going to speak. But I just want the council to know that there's a lot of people, a lot of young people, not just in Pasco, not just in Richland, not just in Kennewick, but people throughout the state that feel the same way as about me. That oftentimes we feel so small and that we feel like we can't do anything about people in power. And I can attest that so many of my friends, so many of my online friends, when I was telling them about this story, they said how important it is to show up to events like this and tell you guys how we feel, because I know oftentimes Tri-Cities has a low voter turnout and we feel really scared to just talk about how we feel and how we want better people to represent us, because I know he doesn't represent me. I know he doesn't represent my friends. I know he doesn't represent my family. And I hope that after this, that you guys can hold him to accountability of making sure that what he's speaking about is making sure that he's not just listening to a rumor, or making sure that it's not just through a Facebook post, making sure that there's validity in those comments. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Try Marie one more time, Ms. Sigdell.
Marie, can you unmute your mic? How about now?
Okay, I guess while we wait, anybody else in the chamber? Anybody else want to speak on any issue to council? Try Marie one more time here.
She is active. She's raising her.
Does anybody have her number and want to try to call her?
She says that you have to select her. For some reason, it doesn't let her unmute herself. I do have her number.
Okay.
I would accept that, yes, and we could actually just put that on speakerphone up there. That would be quite all right.
Disable mic is the.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Now I'm gonna have too many. Hold on. Sorry about that. For some reason, it's not allowing me to click on the microphone. It tells me I have to be selected before it will accept me. So sorry about that.
You're totally good.
Good evening, everybody, Councilman, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Marcy Torres is a colleague of mine. We are collaborating together. And one of the things I wanted to bring up tonight was specifically regarding the email that I sent to council back at the 1st of April. I had planned to be at a meeting sooner than tonight and couldn't get there, so I apologize for that as well. I understand I made a lot of requests. I understand that there are a lot of limitations. It's not done unintentionally. Let me say that. There are reasons to ask for everything that I can possibly think to ask for. It's because there's a collaboration that's needed. It's because there's questions that should be asked. And so when I send an email like that, I'm fully anticipating leadership from the community to question what's going on, to respond back. And you did, and I do appreciate that. What I want, though, is to see the leadership extending to look at the problem. And that these are not unique. They're not rare. They're not individual. There's hundreds of these cases where this is happening, and that should tell you something about what's going on in your community. If it doesn't, then I'm more than happy to send more information and be there weekly to let you know. It's something that I feel very, very important to share with people because of the hurt that's happening, the families that are being destroyed. This is something that I titled that email as urgent, and that's because every day that there's court in Franklin courts, every day that there's family court, there's decisions being made that are impacting families, separating them completely. There are families that haven't seen their children in over years, multiple years, not just months, but years. that is not reunification. That is not what the courts are supposed to be doing. Family court is not about separating families, but that's the main thing that's going on. And that, I think, was clear in the email that I sent, that there's a lot of stuff that are impacting that. The things that I'm hopeful in seeing the leadership step forward in our communities is collaboration. There's processes that can be looked at, and there's things that maybe, just maybe, you might be interested in having an input on. Right now we're working on legislation. We're working on building up what's currently there to stop the gaps that are happening and create those stops, the stop gaps. Let me put it that way. So that we're able then to look at our families and say we're doing the best we can do, not that we're separating everybody that's causing the worst thing that can be imagined. So I'm happy to talk with you folks. I do plan on being there in person tonight. I couldn't. So I appreciate the time tonight. And Marcy is very good at answering questions. So feel free, and I will provide you my phone number through her. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Marcy, for making her voice allowed to be heard. Thank you so much. Anybody else in chamber? Last call. Any comments from the chamber? Yes, step right on up, sir.
Hi there, my name is Daniel Fredrickson. I just want to come in. I had two quick things I wanted to mention. One, I just wanted to mention that with our leaders in City Council, I think it's very important that we're using proper channels before we comment and share things publicly. We don't always have the facts, and there's a time and a place for certain things, and social media is not always the right forum to share information. It's something that spreads misinformation, leads to bad outcomes, erodes trust of elected officials, and I think that's something that, as all of our city's citizens hold you guys to higher standards. So I just ask that the council members all remember that. You know, we look to our leaders for guidance on these things. So rash decisions, inappropriate comments are things that should stay in private. And then when more information, proper channels are followed to find out what actually happened, leads to some sort of decision, then the decision's made. Sorry, that's kind of in a roundabout way. But the other thing I want to talk about is Cinco de Mayo. I thought it was really great this year. It's always been great, but I had an idea. This might not be the best place, but I've noticed even with some of the downturn in the economy, people downtown, there's still on Friday, Saturday nights, a lot of people downtown, the most I've ever seen. And I wanted to suggest, and I'm happy to submit this to the city online as well, perhaps considering something like closing 4th Street permanently, except to like local traffic for deliveries in between Columbia and Lewis, perhaps, along Peanuts Park. That could create an opportunity to put more outdoor seating in that area, help foster more people walking downtown. I heard somebody talk about more bike traffic. I live over in Riverview, and I've seen a lot more bike traffic on Sylvester Street. I know everybody's kind of like it's a joke. No one's ever going to take that bike path down Sylvester, but maybe it's the economy. I keep seeing people out there riding their bike every night, and it's like 90 degrees. So just driving in today, I saw it. So anyway, things like that could really help revitalize the downtown. And I think Peanuts Park, especially with the North Annex the city's working on redoing, it's a unique opportunity to really help foster downtown growth and make a destination for people to come and stay. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else before we move on?
Good evening, council members. Tonight I'm here to talk about, obviously, conduct. I am a person who actually lives with mental health challenges. I do have a mental health disorder, so I feel like I can speak about that. And I have personally survived multiple suicide attempts. The first took over 200 stitches to repair my body to save a life I did not want at the time. Waking up after attempt is one of the most humiliating things a person can experience. And I have been mocked for it. I have been told if you really wanted to die, you would be dead. My own landlord, Leo, somebody who you have stood beside me to protect me against, told rumors how I attempted 6 suicide attempts in 6 months. That is not true, but those words still cause damage. So when this council publicly speaks about mental health, especially involving children who are not yours, this is not a talking point. It has consequences. Whether a parent shares something or not, the moment you amplify it, you take ownership of that impact. Words from this council carry weight. You can have your beliefs and still not be cruel. But the way this is being handled matters. You have a choice. You can stand between harm and the people you serve, or you can contribute to it. If you are pro-life, then protect life at all cost. Please remember that Marilyn Manson did not do any harm. It was his followers who did the harm, who carried out his wishes and the actions, whether he stated that or not. And this is, I will let you look at this because this is the damage that are happening to our children. And for the hate that everyone in this room has received on some personal level, whether it is the color of your skin, the way you look, we have all received hate. And this cannot be a result of our hate. And I'll just let you look at this for my remaining seconds.
Thank you, Ms. Wade. Anybody else in the chamber for public comment? Going once, going twice. We are going to move on. Number 8, hearings and council action on ordinances and resolutions relating thereto. Letter A, public hearing and ordinance number 4833 Dietrich Road, right-of-way vacation and... Oh, did I go by that? Oh, thank you, yes. So before we get that, thank you. I scrolled a little bit too far. Councilmember Prowse reminded me there is a number 7, reports from committees and or officers. What have you guys been doing this week? Mr. Raymond, we'll get back to you, sir. We're coming for you. Thank you. Any reports?
I'll go ahead and start it off.
Councilmember Perales, thank you.
Well, just attended Cinco de Mayo, was there all day long. Just like some comments have already been made. Ron was fantastic. I sent him an email this morning as well. Great leadership. I'm really appreciative of the collaboration that they had with the downtown business owners, also with the Latin Business Association, Tri-City Hispanic Chamber, the school district, everyone from Gracie to Mike Gonzalez to Raul Contreras. It was just on point. The bands was amazing. I don't know what the numbers are yet, but I would love to see those. It was unbelievable. I was there all day till 10 o'clock. Got to hang out with Mr. Bling, and it was awesome because he got, after he was done performing, he goes, "Hey, I've been hearing about Esperanza's, the red bus." That was his last meal leaving Pasco with some tacos, so that was pretty cool. And it was just amazing. I think it's better than losing $300,000 from previous years. Every year that the city has taken over, it's gotten better, and so. Just very appreciative of all the hard work. I mean, we had staff working till probably midnight. There's a lot that goes on with this. It was a very successful event, and it was a great day in the city of Pasco.
Thank you, Councilmember Perales. Councilmember Campos.
Yeah, I would agree. The Cinco de Mayo event was awesome, from the parade to all the festivities that were going on. It was absolutely amazing. Such a great turnout. So many people lined up in the parade, and then everybody enjoying the food and the music and everything else. I had a great time. Weather was good. And so everything just worked out perfect for us. So thank you to the city staff and everyone else that contributed, all the sponsors. It truly was a memorable weekend. Also on that same day, Big Bro Joe had the grand opening. So I know that I was there, Ms. Figueroa and Ms. Braz were there and to celebrate. Great facility. They have everything going on from games and computers and space for having meetings and kitchen, and what a great facility they're going to have. And so we look forward to all the things that they're going to be doing. And then on Wednesday we had our LRA housing outreach at McLaughlin. A great conversation with people to just really understand what that looks like. And so very, again, passionate discussions with it. And so we encourage our city to continue to be involved. We have another one that's happening this Wednesday as well. We have to do this together. The conversation is not necessarily what city council or staff can do. It's not just what residents can do. We got to really combat this and do this together to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our city.
Thank you, Councilmember Campos. Councilmember Figueroa.
Yeah, just to kind of add more to what the rest of my colleagues have mentioned. I had the opportunity to read your speech, Mayor, in Spanish, and so that was an exciting part to do. And I just want to say thank you to our residents and everybody that came out from out of town. I think this is what Pasco is and can be when we all come together. Folks from different backgrounds, first-time individuals that were attending a Cinco de Mayo and those who have been attending for a long time, and nothing but positive things coming together. So I think that that's a really good celebration of what we're trying to be. So if we can continue working in collaboration and working in community, I think that City of Pasco is the best place to be.
Thank you. Love that. Councilmember Hernandez.
I was also the Cinco de Mayo. Well, we all paraded in cars. And it was great. Thanks to the staff and everybody who volunteered and made it a great event. I was also a Big Joe Bros opening, but I must have missed you because I was there towards the end. And Mr. Matt Render is the one who showed me around and talked to me about the program. And so it was it sounds like a great program. So hopefully it'll be very successful. I also attended the police academy again, and we learned about the SWAT team, the K-9 police, and so it was a great week.
That's good. No, thank you. Appreciate that. And I actually got to see Big Bro Joe too, but it was at the C-Suite Tri-City Chamber of Commerce meeting, kind of trying to develop and mentor some young professionals, some of which are in this room right now and everything like that, just trying to grow them along. And so I appreciate, and one of those, Big Bro Joe was there to be mentored. It's like, dude, you should be inspiring other people, man. You're amazing. But just kind of shows his humility and his heart that either that or he's just on the cusp and didn't know which seat to sit in or whatever. But no, Councilmember Campos, I appreciate you going to the LRA meeting. That's the only one I've missed, and I just think you said some important words there, that it's going to take all of us, not just this council, not just the community, not just our elected officials at the state level. It's going to take citizens. It's going to take every one of us to just really fight the state and their unfunded mandate of putting sexual predators around the most vulnerable Pasco citizens. And so just going to continue to fight that every way we possibly can. And yes, Ron's name's been mentioned a couple times for Cinco de Mayo, and obviously staff was just in great numbers there, and there was a lot of people helping, but Ron especially was just working his tail off. And so I know just by mentioning one that leaves a whole bunch off, but he was really doing well, him and his team, and I know he was spearheading it. So appreciate everything staff did to make that a success. And as some others mentioned, I mean, it's hard not to believe that may have been one of the biggest ones ever, and just thought there was a lot of success there. And like you said, Councilmember Figueroa, this is as good as Pasco can be, and we can even do better than that. Yeah, so just look forward to the future with you guys. Moving on, now we're going to go to Mr. Raymond. Letter A, this is going to be a public hearing in ordinance number 4833, the Dietrich Road right-of-way vacation.
Thank you very much, Mayor and council members. Good evening. The agenda item before you is a request to conduct a public hearing relating to a petition to vacate a piece of right-of-way adjacent to North Commercial Avenue and Dietrich and Pasco Colotis roads. REKK Properties submitted a request for the vacation on November 7th, 2025. The subject right-of-way is a remnant from the construction of US 12 and Pasco Colotus interchange, and it no longer serves as a functional roadway. Staff has confirmed through discussion with Washington State Department of Transportation that the state has no interest in maintaining the subject property for transportation purposes and has no objection to the vacation as requested. Additionally, they have no interest in accepting the second half of right-of-way, which is a common outcome during right-of-way vacations. The City Council has 4 basic criteria to consider when evaluating right-of-way vacation petitions. First, whether or not the vacation would negatively affect traffic circulation should the vacation be approved. In this case, staff finds that there's no effect on future traffic circulation. Second, whether there are any plans or possible needs for future public use. Again, in this case, staff finds that the subject property is unlikely to serve any beneficial future public purpose. Thirdly, whether or not the vacation will effectively cut off access and create any landlocked parcels. Staff finds no such condition exists in this case. And finally, whether or not the vacation will harm the public need and that a public interest should be served through the vacation. Vacating the subject property will be absorbed by the adjoining parcel that is zoned I-1 light industrial, creating a more readily developable parcel for commercial purposes. In each case, the city must determine whether a survey shall be required or waived, an appraisal shall be submitted, and whether compensation must be paid for the transferred property. For this request, the applicant has submitted a survey of the property to be vacated. They've also submitted an analysis of Franklin County assessor values of nearby properties, and an average value of $2.23 a square foot is what staff recommends be paid as compensation for the right-of-way. At this time, staff requests that the City Council conduct a public hearing and approve Ordinance 4833, and I'm also available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we open the public hearing, any questions for Mr. Raymond regarding this? Not seeing any. The public hearing is now open. This is for the right-of-way vacation for Dietrich Road, vacation 2025-004. Anybody in the chamber like to speak on this issue? Is anybody online signed up for any of our public hearings tonight? No? One last call in the chamber, going once, going twice. The public hearing is closed. Mr. Perales.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4833, vacating that portion of public road right-of-way for Dietrich Road, City of Pasco, Franklin County, Washington, situated in sections 21 and 22, Township 9 North, Range 30 East, Willamette Meridian, authorizing publication by summary only.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. You have 5 in a row, Mr. Raymond. Letter B, this is also a public hearing. Ordinance number 4834, Harris Road, right-of-way vacation.
Thank you very much, Mayor. This is a request to conduct another public hearing related to another public right-of-way vacation, which is Ordinance 4834, approving the Harris Road right-of-way vacation. As background, this area was part of a series of agreements in 1980 between Washington State Department of Transportation and Franklin County for construction of SR 182. The city annexed the area in 1981. This right-of-way is no longer needed due to the Harris Road 103 realignment, which is approved by the City Council under Resolution number 4608 and is currently being implemented. Oh, sorry. Again, just as the previous action, vacation or right-of-way, the council has 4 essential criteria to consider. I'm not going to go through every single one of them again, but the proposed vacation will not result in any landlocked parcels or significantly impact access. All affected properties will retain both legal and physical access, including through the planned Road 103 connection to Harris Road. While this right-of-way has historically been used The roadway network in this area has been updated, and necessary connections will be provided through the new alignment. There are existing city utilities in the area, including an irrigation line and a nearby water line, and the city will retain easements to continue serving these utilities. Based on the fact that this right-of-way serves as a necessary element of public road realignment projects, staff recommends that the City Council waive the requirement for compensation, appraisal, and title report. Staff requests that the City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt Ordinance 4834, vacating a portion of Harris Road and retaining an easement and rights to grant other easements as described in the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Raymond? Let's open the public hearing. The public hearing for this right-of-way vacation of Harris Road, VAC 2026-001 is now open. Anybody from the chamber like to speak on this issue during this public hearing? Right-of-way vacation for Harris Road, going once, going twice, 3 times. I'm going to close this public hearing. I would like to make one comment. There was a story about this in the Tri-City Herald this morning about the Broadmoor development and everything, and that's what this is talking about. And I think it's good for the public to know this is a goodwill gesture by the city of backing away from this road that no longer is going to serve a purpose, especially with this close proximity to the interchange, and getting out of the way of development so development can happen. With that, Mr. Perales.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4834, vacating a portion of the Harris Road right-of-way between Future Road 103 and Broadmoor Boulevard within the Broadmoor area, while retaining an easement and the right to exercise or grant easements within the vacated right-of-way for the construction, repair, and maintenance of public utilities and services, providing for severability, establishing an effective date, and authorizing publication by summary only.
Second.
Thank you. Motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're going to go to number 9 now. Ordinances and resolutions not relating to hearings. This is a quasi-judicial. This is ordinance number 4835, Elite Investment Group LLC, rezoned from C1 and R4 to MUZ 2026-001. Mr. Raymond, but Mr. Daniel may want to start us off, I imagine.
Yes, Mayor, thank you so much. And I will go fairly quick because we will do this 3 times in a row. So if you need me to stop or slow down, please let me know. But this, the appearance of fairness doctrine applies to each of the 3 rezones, and the hearing must proceed in 3 respects and be fair to form, substance, and appearance. Prior to the deliberations, all council members should consider whether they have potential conflicts as follows: a demonstrated bias for or against any of the parties, any direct or indirect financial interests in the outcome of the proceeding which would affect the council members personally, whether there has been any prejudgment of the issues prior to hearing the facts, whether there has been any ex parte contact with anyone other than staff prior to this hearing, and any other conflict which a council member believes would prevent them from hearing this matter fairly and impartially. At this time, I would ask if any council member has any of these concerns or disclosures to please make them known on the record.
Not seeing any, Mr. Kenny.
Hearing none, if there's any member of the public seeking to disqualify a member of the council from participating in the proceedings, please come forward.
Not seeing any, please proceed.
Thank you.
Mr. Raymond.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. This item is a request to rezone 2 parcels north of Wrigley Drive, east of Road 76 from R4, high density residential, and C1 retail business to mixed use. This is a non-project action, meaning that no specific development is being approved tonight, but any future development will be reviewed by staff according to the underlying zoning and the regulations that already exist. This slide basically shows the basic process for a rezone petition. After staff concludes that the applicant submitted is complete and satisfies all the criteria for rezones, the application is considered by the hearing examiner after the required public hearing, which in this case was held on March 11th, 2026. Subsequent to the hearing, The examiner recommended approval to City Council on March 20th, 2026. The City Council has the responsibility to either approve with conditions, or deny the rezone petition, and or to enter into a concomitant agreement if it feels necessary. The proposed rezone is roughly 4.79 acres and is currently undeveloped. The subject property has a mixed-use designation on the future land use map. This designation supports a mix of housing, commercial, office, and civic uses, along with parks and recreation at densities of 5 to 29 dwelling units per acre. It allows zoning districts ranging from R1 through R4, as well as C1, office, and mixed use. As previously mentioned, the properties are currently zoned R4 and C1, and they're surrounded by other C1 properties to the east, as well as R1 to the west across Road 76. The proposed zoning of mixed use allows for a mix of residential, commercial, and office uses, supports a variety of housing types, and encourages walkable, efficient development consistent with the comprehensive plan. And I'm available to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions from council for Mr. Raymond? Not seeing any. Mr. Perales.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4835, amending the zoning classification of certain real property located north of Wrigley Drive, south of Center Parkway, west of Road 68, and east
west
of Road 68.
You got it right, yep.
And east Road 76 in Pasco, Franklin County, Washington, from C1 retail business and R4 high density residential to MU mixed use, and further authorize publication by summary only.
Second.
Thank you. A motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let's keep it going here. Letter B, another quasi-judicial. This ordinance number 4836. Chavoshi LLC rezone from C3 to I1 Z 2026-002. Not sure, Mr. Kenny, if you want to abbreviate or go through again?
I will go through it again. I will go even quicker this time. I will consolidate shorter each time we go through. So council members should consider whether they have demonstrated bias for or against any party, any direct or indirect financial interests, whether there's been any prejudgment of the issues, any ex parte contact, or any other conflict which they believe would prevent them from hearing this matter fairly and partially. Would any council member have any disclosures?
Not seeing any, sir.
And does any member of the public wish to disqualify a member of council?
Not seeing any. Thank you, Mr. Kenny.
Thank you.
Please proceed, Mr. Raymond.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. This item is a request to rezone 4 parcels south of East Salt Lake Street, west of North Oregon Avenue, from C3 general business to I1 light industrial. Again, this is a non-project action, meaning no development is being approved tonight, and any future project will be thoroughly reviewed for conformance to code, appropriate under the zoning designation when appropriate. As we just completed another rezone petition process, I won't go into lengthy detail on the process, but I will mention that this particular project came before the hearing examiner on March 11th, 2026, and the city received a positive recommendation from the examiner on March 23rd, 2026. The proposed rezone is roughly 2.37 acres and has been developed as a car truck wash historically. According to the future land use map, the property has an industrial designation which supports manufacturing, food processing, storage, and wholesale distribution of equipment and products, hazardous material storage, and transportation-related facilities. It allows the I1, I2, and I3 zoning districts. Currently, the subject property is zoned C3 as shown on the map and is surrounded by C3 properties to the east and I1 property to the west. The proposed zoning is I1, as mentioned, light industrial, which supports commercial, manufacturing, material storage, and industrial uses consistent with the comprehensive plan. At this time, staff requests that the City Council adopt Ordinance 4836, approving of the rezone of certain properties from C3 to I1, and I'm here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Lots of work. It's a busy city.
You bet.
Anybody on council have any questions for Mr. Raymond? Mr. Perales.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4836, amending the zoning classification of certain real property located north of East Spokane Drive, south of East Salt Lake Street, west of North Oregon Avenue, east of BNSF Railroad in Pasco, Franklin County, Washington, from C3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial, and further authorize publication by summary only.
Second.
Thank you. Motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Letter C, also a quasi-judicial manner, ordinance number 4837, Elite Investment Group LLC rezoned from R4 and C1 to MU Mixed Use Z 2026-003. Mr. Kenny.
Thank you so much. Council members should consider whether they have a demonstrated bias for or against parties, any direct or indirect financial interest in the outcome, whether there's been any prejudgment of the issues, whether there's been any ex parte contact, and whether there are any other conflicts which they believe would prevent them from hearing the matter fairly and impartially. Does any council member have a concern or disclosure to make?
Not seeing any, Mr. Kenny.
Does any member of the public wish to seek to disqualify a member of council?
No one coming forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. This item is a request to rezone two parcels near Road 90 and Sanford Parkway to mixed use. One parcel is currently zoned R4 and the other C1. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which designates the area for mixed residential and commercial use. One more time, I won't repeat the rezoning process that we just went through, but that this project was heard by the hearing examiner also on March 11th, 2026, and we also received the positive recommendation from the examiner on March 23rd, 2026. The future land use map shows a designation of mixed commercial residential, which supports a mix of housing, commercial, office, and civic uses along with parks and recreation at densities of 5 to 29 dwelling units per acre. It allows zoning districts ranging from R1 through R4, as well as C1, office, and mixed use. The parcel to the west is zone R4, while the parcel to the east is zone C1. The eastern parcel is included to create a unified zoning designation and to support a more varied mixed-use development product. As already mentioned, the requested zoning is mixed use, which was adopted as a new zoning designation in 2023, replacing the former waterfront development zone. It allows a compatible mix of residential, commercial, and office uses, supports a variety of housing types, and encourages walkable, efficient development consistent with the comprehensive plan. At this time, staff requests that the City Council adopt Ordinance 4837, approving the rezone of certain property from C1 and R4 to mixed use. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Any questions for Mr. Raymond? Not seeing any. Mr. Perales.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4837, amending the zoning classification of certain real property located north of Sanford Parkway, west of Road 90, south of Reuben Street, and east of Road 92 in Pasco, Franklin County, Washington, from R4 high-density residential and C1 retail business to mixed use, and further authorize publication by summary only.
Second.
Thank you. A motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on, letter D, ordinance number 4838, imposing sales and use tax within the boundaries of the Pasco Transportation Benefit District. This looks like we're going to go to Ms. Sigdell. Before we go through all this, I would like to offer to council, since we are missing two of our council members, I'm just one of the five up here, but it would be my preference to wait to table this, or whatever Mr. Kenny advises is legally appropriate, until we have a full council on what is, could potentially be kind of a monumental decision where we can all be on the record with our positions.
I'll second that.
Or make, okay. No, I didn't officially make the motion. I was just trying to bring it up for discussion, yes. But I appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Okay. If someone wants to make a motion, we'll just,
And that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier when you said two when we were on. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. But yeah, I'll make a motion to table this until the next regular meeting, or if we want, we can have a special meeting. I'll put that out there.
or just maybe the next time. Actually, if you'd hold on your motion for just a second. Mr. Kinney, what would be the most legal and appropriate way of doing this?
You could, thank you for asking, Mayor. You could either table it, or you could table it to a date certain. I suppose I would maybe only recommend not putting a date, and then Mayor, you could work with staff to find the most appropriate day when people are available, because you will have to bring it back at the date if it's set at a date certain, but you absolutely could do that as well.
Okay, Mr. Stewart, do you have any thoughts?
I agree with the advice from Mr. Kinney. It's up to council. If you would like to schedule a special meeting just for this issue alone, you can provide that direction to me and we'll get that squared away, or you can, we can work on getting it on the next regular council meeting, whichever the council prefers.
I am going to be gone the next one. Mr. Stewart and I are going to be in Las Vegas representing the city. So just maybe leave it open-ended the next, next one we're all
I'll go ahead
here.
and take off the special meeting, just the next regular meeting that we have.
That we're all here?
That we're all here.
Perfect, thank you.
Second.
Okay, second, we have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales to table this until the next regular business meeting when the full council is seated, and it's seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. Discussion? Not seeing any, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Letter E, resolution number 4732. This is an interlocal agreement with Franklin County for jail services, and this is our interim chief cook. Good evening, sir. Your name's on there. I don't know why you're looking around. You're in the seat, buddy.
I'm ready. All right, this resolution is interlocal agreement with Franklin County to provide jail services to the city of Pasco. The interlocal agreement is a continuation, a long-term continuation of a service that Franklin County has provided to us. This three-year agreement will go through 2028 and will establish the terms for prisoner custody, transport, and medical care. This new ILA clearly details many of the things that we needed to get through. The county will pursue all available coverages for treatment and reimbursement prior to sending the city bills for those things. It also defines timelines for billing and inmate costs. And the agreement establishes a meeting for the city and the county to discuss this twice a year, so that we can continue communication between the city and county on this subject. In closing, I think that, well, this is for your consideration. And if you have any questions about the agreement, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from council for Chief Cook? Councilmember Perales.
I don't have any questions. I just want to make a comment. I did request some information about how many bookings we have and you know what our current inmate population is. And so, I mean, this isn't just like a small incremental increase. I mean, you know, the booking fee did double. Based on the numbers that we have right now, I mean, this is going to go up by $500,000. And so this is going to go up in future years. So I just want to make it a note that this is something we're really going to have to look at. You know, 1.5 to 2 million, then maybe eventually 2.5 to 3. I mean, you know, we got to be able to make sure that this pays for itself. So I just want to make sure this council is cognizant of that. And, you know, I'll be in support of this, but it is something we need to make sure we're going to tighten this up. And, you know, when I got the numbers, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to be a cost to the city. So just want to make sure that's clear.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, and I know medical is a small component of it, but I think we're going to continue to see that, exponentially increase as really the condition of so many inmates even get to, you know, jail and that kind of stuff. So no, very good. Any other questions, comments from council? Not seeing any. Thank you, Chief Cook. Mr. Perales.
Mr. Mayor, before you do.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
Just two changes I want to highlight. So since we talked about it at our work session last week, I think I mentioned last time that we had some additional changes from our city attorney with regards to some language changes. So we did have two changes. The first one is the duration. The draft we presented to you last week was going to set to expire on December 31st, 2027. More importantly, it was to begin January 1, 2025, which we've already passed. So the recommendation is for this agreement to be for a period of 3 years from the date of signature. So once council approves and it's signed, that's when the 3 years would start. So that's the first change. The second change would be is that because of that extension and going into 2028, the contract did not list any rate increase for 2028. And so to keep consistent, language was added that there's a 3% increase for the year of 2028. And we did receive confirmation from the county on both of those changes that they're in agreement today.
Thank you for that clarification. Anybody, before we go to the motion, anybody have any questions, comments on that? Anything to add? Councilmember Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4732, authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement between Franklin County and the city of Pasco for the use of jail facilities.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor for resolution number 4732 by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Very good. Moving on, resolution, this letter F, resolution number 4736, acceptance of work for the Martin Luther King Community Center renovation and expansion phase 1 construction project. And we're going to Director Sarah. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. We are proposing the acceptance of work performed by Booth and Sons Construction. And this pertains to the phase 1 MLK Junior Community Center renovation. We'll see some pictures as is typical. We're seeing the before, especially looking at the entrance and also the interior of the building, and then part of the demolition, and then some construction in progress. And many of you got to tour the facility once finished and got to experience what that first phase feels like and looks like, much improved. Overall, the total cost for the construction contract was just under $2.9 million, which was well within the engineer's estimate range. And this project was funded by a combination of funding, including Washington State Legislative Appropriation, ARPA funds, and congressional directed spending. And all remaining funds that were not used for phase 1 are actually being allocated to phase 2. And later tonight, we'll have another item pertaining to that. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, many of us were there for the ribbon cutting, and it's a beautiful facility, or on its way to being a much more beautiful facility, and definitely long overdue. Questions, comments for Director Sarah? Not seeing any. Mr. Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4736, accepting work performed by Booth and Sons Construction of Kennewick, Washington, under contract for the Martin Luther King Community Center renovation and expansion phase 1 construction project.
Second.
Thank you. Motion on the floor for resolution number 4736 by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Letter G, resolution number 4737, Benton Franklin Head Start lease agreement. And for this, we're going to Ms. Pashan. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So piggybacking off of Ms. Sarah's presentation, tonight I'm presenting a resolution to authorize the city manager to execute a 5-year lease agreement with Benton Franklin Head Start for the continued use of the Martin Luther King Junior Community Center. By way of background, the city has partnered with with Head Start since 2010 to provide preschool services at the location. Over the years, this partnership has remained strong and continues to serve an important need in our community. As council is aware, the recently completed phase 1 renovations of the center temporarily relocated Head Start to the Kurtzman building to ensure there was no disruption in their services. With phase 1 now complete, this agreement formalizes a return to the MLK Center. The lease includes a 5-year term with an option to renew. They're approximately going to be using 5,000 square feet of indoor space. And we are proposing a starting monthly rent of $3,400 a month with a 2% annual increase, totaling approximately $195,000 over the the life of the lease. While the market value was assessed slightly higher, the rent reflects several considerations, including Head Start's role in helping us secure grant funding for the renovation, ongoing construction impacts that are expected, and their continued service to the community. The agreement also ensures shared community space while maintaining all required safety requirements for the children they serve. Staff is recommending the approval of the resolution tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I think that's the exact kind of tenant we want for that facility, right? Any questions, comments for Ms. Bashan from council? Not seeing any. Mr. Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4737, authorizing the city manager to execute a 5-year lease agreement between the Benton Franklin Head Start and the city of Pasco for the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center located at 205 South Weehee Ave, Pasco, Washington.
Second.
Motion on the floor for resolution number 4737 by Councilmember Perales, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Lots of letters again tonight. Letter H, resolution number 4738. This project acceptance of the Zone 3 Water Storage Reservoir Project. And we're back to you, Director Sarah.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. In this case, we are requesting your acceptance of the work performed by T. Bailey Inc., and that is the contractor that built our 3.5 million gallon reservoir storage just north of Burns and Road 90. This project was the first progressive design build for City of Pasco, and it was a great success. Overall, the project was delivered by T. Bailey with a total cost of $17 million, just over, I'm rounding, just over $17 million. Funds for this project came from the Public Works Board in an amount of $10 million with a really low interest rate, and the remainder of the funds were provided through utility rates. This is well below the allocated budget that we had originally intended for the project. And I do have a few pictures, so I'm just gonna show you the pictures of the very beginning when we were digging to build the foundation, and then the project once it was finished. And there were lots of exciting in-between pictures, but we went more concise in this presentation. And with that, we are ready to accept the work and allow the contractor to have their retainage back and be able to move on to closing the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions, comments for Director Sarah? Not seeing any. Mr. Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4738, accepting work performed under the Design Build Institute of America agreement with T. Bailey Incorporated for the Zone 3 Water Storage Reservoir Project.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales for resolution number 4738, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. I get it right tonight. Wow. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Letter I, resolution number 4739, professional services agreement, amendment number 3 with Architects West for design and construction services for the Martin Luther King Community Center remodel and expansion project. Again to you, Director Sarah.
Good evening again. We are requesting your approval of an amendment to the team providing design services for the MLK renovation and expansion. As you know, our architects have been under contract working on the phase 1 project, and originally phase 1 was all the phases, and later we phased the project into 3 consecutive phases. So there was some additional work that they had to do and some adjustment as we worked through the planning for it. At this time, the amendment is amendment number 3. The proposed amendment, which has been a negotiated scope, is for completing the design in phases 2 and 3. So we have 2 ready to go out to bid sets, although those phases are not fully funded. The total amount for the amendment is $312,260 for a total contract with this group of architects, which is Architects West, of $1,019,174.20. Again, this phase 2 of the project, we talked about phase 1 being completed, but phase 2 has still remaining $4 million available to it from both the Congressional Direct Spending allocation and a second Washington State legislative appropriation specific to phase 2. The shortfall for phase 2 construction is $2.5 million, but we have more than sufficient funds to finish the design, and typically having a design ready to go is positions us better for competing for funding. It also helps us nail down the construction cost and identify maybe some value engineering opportunities along the way. So with that, we recommend approval of the amendment for Architects West to finish those designs for phases 2 and 3 as 2 separate bid packages. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sarah. Appreciate all your hard work on grants and low interest loans, saving the taxpayers of the city of Pasco so much money during your tenure. Any questions or comments for Director Sarah? Not seeing any. Councilmember Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4739, authorizing the city manager to execute amendment number 3 for the professional services agreement with Architects West for additional design services for phase 2 and 3 of the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center renovation and expansion project.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made for resolution number 4739 by Councilmember Perales. Now it's in the head now. Seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. Sorry, excuse me. Beg your pardon. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let's go on to letter J, resolution number 4740, professional services agreement, amendment number 1 with RH2 Engineering for phase 2 of the Maitland Lift Station and 9th and Washington Lift Station improvement projects. Director Sarah.
Good evening again. I will be very brief. This is an amendment for RH2 Engineering to perform this detailed design engineering for 2 lift stations. These are the 2 sewer lift stations that once all the sewer is collected across our system, each of these lift stations, 9th and Washington and Maitland, convey all that sewer flow into the wastewater treatment plant. So they're absolutely critical, and all of the city's sewer flow goes through those 2 facilities. So, as you have heard me in the past, what we did when we selected our consultant was a selection for full services of design and support during construction. But knowing that there were many needs and likely not sufficient funds for completing all the needs, we did an assessment of those lift stations and prioritized improvements. With that, our original contract signed with RH2 was a small amount of money to complete that assessment and better define what scope was needed. So you're seeing some aerial pictures of where those lift stations are located. Again, one on the east and one on the west of the wastewater treatment plant. And now that we know what the needs are, which I will quickly give you an overview of what those needs are. For 9th and Washington, the needs are an array of items, including new motors for one of the pumps, a wet well overlay, force main bypass structure, which allows us to bypass flow when we're having to do improvements, which is quite important. Otherwise, it's a very complex system. And so that's a need that had been identified in a prior item several years ago. We attempted to do it. We didn't have enough funds. Now's the time to do this. And then some lateral bracing for some of our discharge pipes, and some rehabilitation of concrete pads for those pumps that have been there for a long time. On the Maitland lift station, similarly, also a new pump and motor for one of the existing pumps, some improvements to the isolation and check valves within the facility. Again, the bypass access point. A replacement of the flow meter, which allows us to better identify how much flow we're really putting into our wastewater treatment plant and how much that side of the system is really conveying. And some improvements to backflow and other things in the site that are minimal. So with that, now that we know the scope, we have negotiated a scope of work for RH2 to perform that detailed design and be able to provide us with a full bid package that we can advertise for competitive bids. The amendment as proposed is just under $295,000, which adds to the almost $55,000 we had entered into an agreement earlier for the assessment of the facilities. And again, this is a negotiated scope with them based on the new project, well-defined project scope. And I'm happy to answer any questions or if I missed any item that you were interested in hearing about lift stations. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sarah. Any questions or comments for the Public Works Director? Councilmember Campos.
Thank you for that presentation. I know that this is very important for it. 27 years old, and then it's going to take some time to design, year, and all the different stuff. Is there going to be any anticipated like Band-Aid fixes that we're going to need in the meantime, or is it just we think that we have enough time without any of that?
No, we think we'll be okay. We've been keeping an eye on them, and there were some smaller fixes along the way that happened in 2019 or 2020 that kind of kept us going until now. So I think we're going to be okay. We're not, fingers crossed, we're not anticipating any failure between now and then.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate the seriousness of what you talk about, the one pipe where everything goes through. You kind of gave up a tell now, because I now know when you're being super serious about something. Councilmember Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4740, authorizing the city manager to execute amendment number 1 with RH2 Engineering, Inc. for design, bidding, and construction services for the Maitland Lift Station and 9th and Washington Lift Station improvement projects.
Second.
Thank you. A motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales for resolution number 4740, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Letter K, resolution number 4741, approval of Burlington Northern Santa Fe advance purchase of materials. Last one of the evening for you, Director Sarah.
Yes, good evening. This item is a resolution that, with your approval, would allow the railroad to be able to advance purchases materials that will be needed to restore the area where the Lewis Street underpass is being demolished within the BNSF right away. So as you know, we have, and I'm going to advance. I don't think I have slides for this, actually. I do not. I don't have slides. Perfect. As you know, we have a project that is the final piece associated with the Lewis Street overpass project. So once the bridge was built, the underpass was closed up and filled. One of the requirements BNSF had at the time they provided a new easement for that bridge to cross the railroad is to demolish the remainder of the underpass which sits below their tracks. So as part of that work, the tracks need to be removed and then reinstalled because we are demolishing the roof of what used to be the underpass and the top 6 feet of that of the walls of that underpass so that the tracks no longer sit on that concrete structure. So BNSF will have their own contractor removing the tracks and then reinstalling them after the city's contractor removes the structure that is left. So with that, some of the items BNSF needs to buy are things like track switches and conductors for signals and the new signals themselves, which are really old, and at time of removing them, they're not likely to be able to be reinstalled. At this time, through the coordination on the design of the demolition project, we have coordinated with BNSF, and we understand that they anticipate the cost of materials will be in the order of $1.5 million, and we would need to give them early notice to proceed to go ahead and purchase those materials so that by the time we are demolishing the underpass, and then they will be reinstalling the tracks. They have the equipment that is required to reinstall those tracks. Overall, the project is, I think you've heard both our project manager, Michael Ullman, and I talk about this project being mostly a coordination project where we'll have really small windows of time to do the work. And then, of course, the work itself has to be placed in the year in a time when there is lower traffic in the train tracks. So we anticipate the work, if it were to happen this year, would have to happen before the end of September. And for that, early acquisition would have to happen just around now, so that they have the materials in hand when those tracks get reinstalled after the demolition occurs. And as we have mentioned before, this project is funded through a Public Works Board low interest loan with 50% principal forgivable principal in that order, which really works, 50% of it works as a grant. The total award amount is $3.5 million. We are requesting that we would provide notice to proceed to BNSF for up to $2.5 million. We heard today that they estimate material costs would only be $1.5 million, which is would like to not get in the way of then acquiring that if we were to go too close to the number they have provided. Okay, I ramble a little bit, so please let me know if you have any questions on this. Thank you.
Questions, comments for Director Sarah? Not seeing any. Just one. In your agenda report, Director Sarah, it says public outreach to downtown stakeholders regarding project scope and schedule is anticipated to begin in May. What sort of impact are you expecting? And just trying to be sensitive to our downtown businesses after the Lewis Street overpass.
Yes, the work is anticipated to happen in 4 12-hour windows. We don't know yet if the 12-hour windows will be during the day or the night, and it will really depend on BNSF's operations. Most of the work is happening, all of the work really is happening within the BNSF right-of-way. So we're not in the road, our city roads. What we will have is demolition work, which may have some vibration and noise. And along with that comes the hauling of the debris with trucks. So we'll have a truck route. We are working through the details of that truck route, trying to impact residential areas the least. That is the goal. And again, we don't have a certain date from BNSF for the beginning of the work, nor how often those windows will be, whether there's going to be once a week or maybe there are a couple of weeks back to back, a couple of days back to back. We're kind of working through that process. We are at just about 60% design for this project, so we're in heavy coordination efforts with BNSF at the time.
No, that's great. Thank you. No, glad to hear it's just going to be kind of more noise and nuisance rather than some obstruction of the right of way, as you clarified. Thank you. Anybody else? Not seeing any. Councilmember Perales.
I move to approve resolution number 4741, authorizing the city manager to approve the BNSF advanced purchase of materials and notice to proceed for reviews.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Councilmember Perales to approve resolution number 4741, seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Number 10, unfinished business, not seeing any. Number 11, new business, not seeing any. Number 12, miscellaneous discussion. We will kick it off to Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Just a few updates. I know we talked a lot this evening about Cinco de Mayo. I don't want to miss my opportunity to participate in the positive reflection on it. So based off of some data prepared by staff, we believe this was the largest event since the city began doing Cinco de Mayo.
Hey, that's great.
We estimate probably 13,000 to 15,000 attendees at this point. That included 75 entries with 300 plus vehicles in the parade, 85 plus vendors, several of who sold out early and had to restock, 70 plus cars at the car show, 1,500 estimated audience members for the musical acts, and attendance later in the day remained higher than prior years. You guys have already talked about staff recognition, but again, I want to provide my own recognition of staff. Ron Campton, our recreational specialist who specializes in our special event coordination, did a phenomenal job, as you've all stated previously. Brent Kabalik, our recreation services manager. Larry Villegas, who serves as our arborist, but was working very diligently downtown as well. And Dan Tomlinson, who serves as our lead aquatic specialist. In addition, it's all hands on deck, so the entire recreation services division was very involved. And as I stated last week, also a special thank you to our partners, including the LBA and Mr. Cortinez, as well as Councilmember Perales, who played a key role in helping get some of our entertainment here. So again, thank you to everyone. I know myself, my wife, and I even got one of my 3 children with me to go out with me to enjoy the heat of Cinco de Mayo. You guys get hot here early. It was feeling like little Mexico up here Saturday. But it was a great event, great energy, and something that the city of Pasco and our partnership would be very proud of, and we hope that make it even better next year. We have another event this Saturday. Our Fur Babies and Fuzz pet adoption event will be taking place this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Tri-Cities Animal Service. You can adopt an animal for $50, which includes spay, neuter, first vaccines, and microchips. If any of you have paid for any of those separately, $50 does not go anywhere close to covering those costs. So that is a great deal if you're looking for a furry companion within your home. This event is made possible thanks to participation from Pasco and Kennewick Police Departments, Washington State Patrol, West Richland Police Department, Southeast Communications Center, and Sweet Squeeze Lemonade. Also a reminder, if that's not enough for you to do this Saturday, our Pasco Farmers Markets opens this Saturday as well in historic downtown Pasco. So you can come discover a delightful array of fresh, locally grown produce, plants, flowers, and handcrafted goods, and enjoy the comfort of our covered pavilions at Peanut Park. And that will go from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. It'll be every Saturday through October. So it starts this weekend. And then finally, just a reminder of our final LRA housing outreach meeting this Wednesday. This will actually be a noon meeting over the lunch hour here in the City Council chambers. And this one will have the ability to participate remotely via video for those that would like to do that. So if anyone wants to take their lunch and join us via video, they're welcome to do that. That will be our final one. And then staff will begin preparing any ordinance changes to come forward to council with the feedback that we've received from the public. So with that, that is my update for this evening, unless council has any questions for me regarding the city manager memo that's included in your packet this evening.
Any questions for Mr. Stewart? Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Not seeing anything. I see we have need for executive session. 15 minutes, still good, Mr. Stewart?
Yes, we will try to keep it to that.
Okay. Who's all going to be in there?
Ms. Sigdell and myself. And the city attorney.
Thank you. So we are moving into executive session. Letter A, this is discussion with legal counsel about current or potential litigation per RCW 42.30.110. Paragraph 1, Section I. This is 15 minutes with our legal and the deputy city manager and city manager. The time is 8:48. We will return at 9:04. Alrighty, we are out of executive session with no decisions being made. Next number on our agenda is number 14, which is adjournment, and this meeting is adjourned.